We're going to get started on today's LinkedIn Live. I'm Neil McDonnell. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. And I have spent a long time trying to teach people that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. I spent 20 years as a small business owner. And since 2018, I've really been teaching this process. And I keep refining it down to very direct tactical guidance. And that's what I want to give today. I'm going to give you one tip coming out of today's topic of federal marketing versus business development versus capture. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's talk about marketing first, and then I'll go into BD and capture. But I describe it as federal sales, right? All of us out there, it seems like, describe federal government activity in different ways. You've heard about BD or business development. You've heard about capture. And marketing to me is just another component of sales. I could throw proposal in as well, by the way, because a proposal is basically the last step of a sales cycle from my perspective. But when you think about marketing, separate from business development, just marketing in general, it's really about company awareness to the buyer or to potential teammates. You want to get them to be able to know who you are and recognize your name. You've heard me say this on LinkedIn Lives if you've joined me before, that I want you to put in the comments your company name and your core competency. That one thing you want people to know that you guys do. For example, your company is the emerging technology, or we do janitorial services. Whatever it is, you want it to be really easy for companies to go, that company does that thing. And that's why I describe marketing as company awareness. And if I pause 1 second, when I'm talking about marketing today, I'm not talking about one of the companies out there that might have a whole marketing department. How they see marketing is different than how I see it as a small business owner in the government contracting space. When I'm talking about it here, I'm talking about what can you as a small business owner do for marketing yourself? Or what can you as a capture or business development lead do for your company from marketing? And that's where I'm trying to go into it. So one of the first tools, obviously, that's out there for marketing and company awareness, if you will, is DSBS. I've talked about the dynamic small business search is the #1 marketing tool used by the federal buyer. They use all sorts of tools, but that's the #1 tool. SAM and DSBS make up your small business profile in the federal space. So that's the #1 tool, and it's a marketing asset or a marketing tool. That's why you hear me constantly in most of my videos describe DSBS as the most important tool and the one you absolutely need to go look at and bring it up to the very best it can be. 75% of companies are virtually invisible in there. Don't be one of those invisible companies. Make sure your buyers can see you. So DSBS, #1 marketing tool in the federal space. Going with that now are these other marketing assets. Your website is a marketing tool. That's where people come in and they'll look at your services. If you're a little bit more mature, they'll look at maybe contracts you have, past performance, et cetera. But it's a marketing tool because it's, excuse me, when people come along, they can look in and learn about your company without having to talk to you. And so to me, marketing is maybe a little bit standoffish at some points here with the passive marketing tools that I'm describing. Your capability statement is another great one. When you hand it out, it's an active marketing tool. It could almost be used as a business development tool. But when it goes to a buyer or your teammates and they put it on their hard drive, it becomes a passive marketing tool. It can be indexed and searched. I call it findable. So others within the organization or the agency can find it. If that capability statement gets uploaded into a enterprise hard drive, then other buyers can perhaps get access to it and identify your company as one that does, cybersecurity or construction. So website capability statement, another great marketing tool or marketing thing you should be adding to your activity at least every week, if not every day, time blocking 15, 30 minutes is Supplier Portals. Finding the top 10, 20 large companies that are in your target agency and putting your contact information, your basically everything from SAM and DSBS that you wrote up, putting it in that company's supplier portal. I use Boeing as an example. They have over 10,000 buyers, and they have access to the supplier portal, the vendor portal. And in there, when you put your information, you could be discovered. I was talking with somebody, and they might even be on today in the chat, but they were describing yesterday or the day before how they put their information into the IBM supplier portal. And a week later, they got contacted and asked to meet with one of the representatives from IBM to talk about whatever emerging technology, AI, ML type stuff that they do. And it doesn't mean that'll always happen that fast, but it is a marketing activity that you put out there. So the whole reason I really came up with today's topic and including marketing, though, was this last tip I want to give you is LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn, you're on it, is a marketing tool. It's a massively a massive footprint marketing tool, easy to use. Anybody can start becoming good at it right away. And I want to give you an example of how the engagement on LinkedIn can really serve your marketing needs, getting people and companies aware of you. Really, in order to get a company aware of you, you just need people to be aware of you, because the people, work in a company. An example is this weekend on Sunday afternoon, I was in LinkedIn and I was engaging content. I do this on purpose, and I can talk to you more another time about it. But every day I try to engage content that is related to what I'm an expert at or where I'm trying to target, and not just a thumbs up or a reshare with no thought to it, but looking at something and engaging it if I can. And engaging means give a like or comment. Anyways, long story short, I watched this interview that the DoD CIO did with Government Matters Media, the Gov Matters TV. And if you're not familiar with Government Matters Media, go check them out on LinkedIn. They're always bringing government people in to speak about their agencies. Anyways, this was the DoD CIO. Did a great job. I went in. He was talking about zero trust and some other things. Long story short is I reshared that post that I saw it on, and I commented in my post that I really appreciated John Sherman sharing his insight on zero trust, particularly this part that was like in the 3-minute mark I had been watching. I was like, oh, that really caught my attention. And I appreciated that that he was sharing it, right? It wasn't some vague engagement I was doing. I was trying to continue the conversation. And I posted it out there. And it's Sunday, right? I got, 5, 6, 7 thumbs up type things from other people like me who work too many hours. But one of the people who came in within a few hours on Sunday was John Sherman himself, the CIO of the Department of Defense. I don't sell IT services. John Sherman is not a buyer to me at all, right? I just actually liked what he did, and I work with some people on Zero Trust. I was pushing that content around because I liked it, and I wanted my customers to see what he was saying. But he came in and gave it a thumbs up. That's engagement. In one single marketing step that I did, I was able to get the Department of Defense CIO, responsible for billions and billions of dollars in IT spend, to come over, pause for a second, and give Neil's post a thumbs up. Not to speak of myself in third party there. But when you think about marketing and engagement through LinkedIn, imagine if I'm engaging John's content over a matter of months, not days, right? We're not trying to get real time. And by the way, John's not a buyer. Even though he's the CIO, he's more of an influencer. He's talking about where the DoD is going in IT, in particular cybersecurity and emerging technologies, right? But the beauty is when John gives it a thumbs up on LinkedIn, they're pushing it out to his connections saying, hey, John just gave Neil's post a thumbs up. And people are going to go, oh, who's Neil? What's that post? Let me go look. And then they engage my stuff because they like John. That's a level of social media engagement and marketing that can only happen at the user level, at your level. A marketing department can't really do that. John's not engaging a marketing company. John's engaging you. And so I want to encourage you, when you think about what can I do for marketing my company, clearly do the basics that I talk about all the time. DSBS website capability statement and supplier portals when it makes sense. fill those out. But those are kind of one and done, if you will. But LinkedIn engagement, if you're in this space trying to reach the federal buyer, millions of them are on LinkedIn, and apparently some of them are on Sunday evenings. And so get in there, start doing stuff. I'll do another post maybe that talks about how to further engage it out there. Okay, so that was marketing, right? Federal sales has got marketing, BD, and capture. Marketing, I want to be doing all the time, just trying to spread the word out there generally through the market that we are good at what we do. I'm an expert now in the government contracting space. I want to be seen as the champion of small businesses in the federal space, and also the champion and coach around the process for government contracting. So whatever I engage in is trying to do that. You figure out what your business is and do that same thing on a marketing. Block out 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes to find somebody's content to engage, 30 minutes to create your own piece of content. You will not be good in the beginning. You will be good in the middle, and you will be great after a year of doing it, right? But just get started. In the beginning, maybe you give thumbs up. But at some point, you really want to step it up to engaging with comments. So I hope that made sense. By the way, if it made sense, give it a thumbs up. Engage my post right now. Okay, so business development. Let's talk about business development. Business development is about understanding an agency or a strategic partner and identifying opportunities. And I'll talk about the opportunities in a second. So the first thing is, and when I think of business development, it isn't just with a federal agency. It could be with an agency. It could be with a large prime. It could be with a strategic small business teaming partner. I talk about how I recommend those of you in IT should be building strategic relationships with 8A companies that are on the 8A Stars 3 contract vehicle. $50 billion IT vehicle, you should have strategic partners in there, 5, 10 partners that are aware of who you are and you're aware of who they are. Same thing with an agency level, right? You want these organizations to know that you care. And the way you know that, or the way they know that, is that you're in there doing your research. You're trying to understand what are their challenges, what are their goals as they lay out a strategic plan for the next year, for example. So getting in there and understanding it, having meetings. I have a customer I was trying to set up a meeting with a CTO of a Navy command. This Navy command CTO has no money. They have no budget to be able to buy anything, but they are an influencer within the Navy. And so what I'm encouraging this customer to do is to talk with that CTO and to have a discussion. It is not about an opportunity. When you're in business development, you're trying to understand where they're going, let's say with emerging technologies, or you're trying to influence their journey of where they're planning to go by sharing what you think they should be doing. For example, I just tried to influence you by suggesting that LinkedIn is a powerful marketing tool. Get on there, engage. Well, many of you probably listen to it and you're like, wow, I want to get that engagement from the DoD CIO. Let me give what Neil's saying a shot. Well, it's the same thing here. You go in and you talk to them about janitorial services or about construction or about IT, whatever it is, new training methodologies. Getting in and talking to these influencers, these people who are thinking about where are we going as an agency in this particular space, and that space being, what you and your company are experts at. So from a business development standpoint, you want to get in and really understand that agency. And the only way that can happen is when you start and build relationships with key stakeholders within that agency or within that company that you're building a strategic partnership with, right? And when I say strategic partnership, by the way, I never mean anything formal. What I mean is we both agree we want to work long-term for each other's success. Anything formal or legal is a different entity. I just mean we're getting together and we're going to help each other succeed. So you want to have good relationships, find them, and then build them in agencies and in teaming partners. And as you do that, these people will help you learn more about their organization, which then leads to the second part of business development. They will give you early heads up about opportunities, and not in any kind of bad way, just in conversations. They'll talk about, let's say, hey, yeah, we've got a data center we're actually looking at over the next couple of years, closing it down, moving to the cloud. Okay, there's an opportunity. I'm in construction. I can close that data center physically. I'm in cloud. I can, stand up the new cloud environment or migrate you off. I'm in software development. I can redesign this, the on-prem type applications into cloud native applications, whatever it is. When you have the conversations at a BD standpoint, you start hearing about opportunities. You hear about RFIs that are getting ready to come out. You're engaging with the contracting officer, the small business professionals of the program office, and hearing where they're going with their acquisitions. Some organizations are very candid and transparent. They'll put out whole decks and talk about the opportunities, talk about who's the POC so that you can get in because they appreciate the dialogue with industry. Well, that is business development. You're talking to them about their needs and their agency, the mission. You're discussing where they might go from a future standpoint of what you offer, products and services, and then you're looking at opportunities that are coming out. There's a line out there about opportunities. If you see it in sam.gov, it's too late. I disagree with that whole model that if you see it there, it's too late. But that's a different debate. What I really believe, though, is that you should not be looking at it in sam.gov as a routine. You should be going left, 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 meaning getting earlier in the process, hearing about it from the forecasts, hearing about it from the small business specialists, or hearing about it from the program office and conversations. And so you want to move to the left and you will identify opportunities. I did another LinkedIn Live, and I'll try to remember and put that post down. But in there, I talk about shifting to the left, this whole idea of what does the acquisition lifecycle look like and how do I shift to the left? One quick pause before I move from business development to capture, this last sales activity I want to talk about. I did want to mention that all these LinkedIn Lives, we're in week 7. And so I have 6 weeks, 30 previous LinkedIn Lives that are at this quality of content that I'm delivering. And they're in a LinkedIn article on my profile. So if you go into my profile and you're looking at my activity, you can see posts and you can see activity and you see articles. If you click on articles, it's that first one. Actually, I think if you look at my profile, it's my #1 featured post. And so anyways, the point is if you go in there, you'll see all the titles to previous LinkedIn Lives I've done. And go check one out that talks about shifting to the left. It was one of the early ones. So you'll find it near the top. Thanks, Gus. I knew if I talk long enough, you'd throw a link in there on that. Okay, so let's talk about the last one. BD is about hearing about opportunities and building relationships with key stakeholders within an organization so you can learn about that company or that agency. In Capture, it's all about pursuing one single opportunity. We want to get in there and win an opportunity, push our competitors out of the way and land the contract, right? That's sales at its most fundamental. I want to win this contract. And so when you think about Capture, in order to really have a great chance of winning, it goes back to the business development activity where you're learning about the agency and you're building relationships. Well, here now you're going to continue that with those relationships you've been establishing or new ones if you have to. You're going to go in and talk about particular challenges related to this one opportunity, particular objectives. And I've described this before in another LinkedIn Live where I say, it's not just what they write in the PWS, because that's what everybody will know. All of your competitors will see whatever is in the documentation for, hey, here's our challenges, here's our objectives. You want to go back during Capture, talking to the agency stakeholders and uncovering the challenges more. I noticed in your annual report, you talked about we accomplished this, but we still have this to accomplish. But it looked like that was your plan last year. Why didn't you guys get that accomplished? Asking the questions that pull threads on things will help them reveal more of the challenges, maybe get more into what we really are trying to get done. Objectives is this. Well, that comes during Capture by establishing or using existing relationships and going in with a good call plan, asking the right questions, these problem and implication questions. Problem, what are these problems you're running into and who else is it impacting? When you ask those type of questions, you're able to really uncover more of the challenges and objectives. The last thing about Capture, and really the purpose of Capture here, is that you need to shape the opportunity as best you can to ensure you win it. And when I say shape, there's two parts. You can shape an opportunity, the requirements, and you can shape an opportunity's acquisition approach. So requirements, let's start with requirements as an example, technical requirements, right? So in here, it might be the direction the government's talking about going. We want to migrate out of our data center, using that example, to Google Cloud or Oracle Cloud, and you're a Microsoft or an AWS shop. Well, you want to be going in there, talking to them early, trying to get them to push that. Now, that actually might be a bad example because it's so um, uh, such a drastic shift, and they should have thought about it earlier. But there's other requirements, like if you look at a task area, and maybe the task area is not clear, and you want to get clarity out of it. Or one of my things about a SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, something else, and threats. I can't remember what the O was. I forgot, but it doesn't matter because we tend to do a SWOT analysis against our competitors. And I always say, forget about the competitors, do it against yourself. If you have a strength, shaping a technical requirement could mean putting a harder requirement in the task areas. Hey, you might want to put this, this task area, you might want to hold us accountable to a more stringent set of requirements or measurements, because otherwise you will have this risk down the road. And if you know that you can do something really, really well, and that's no big deal to you, now perhaps you're pushing out some of your competitors. You might also be talking about from a past performance experience. Make sure somebody has at least 3 past performances in that 5 million or more range, since this opportunity is 5 million or more. Well, if you can get them to write that, now anybody who has $4.9 million contracts won't be able to use them in there. This is all, this is a very fast way of saying this, but there's all these ways to shape an opportunity, to try to shape it. Capture could be as long as 12 or 24 months, right? So don't just think of it as, hey, we got 3 months or next month the RFP's dropping. I mean, you got time, and the more time you have, the more you can shape the technical requirements with the program office. And then the acquisition side, on that particular part, it's about shaping whether it's a set aside to woman-owned small business, right? You're trying to push for that. You want to push for it to be on a particular contract vehicle. I think this should go GSA IT 70, whatever it is, you're trying to push it to you. And if you have a contract vehicle that can push people out, do that. If you're an 8A or a hub zone and you can get them to push it down to a hub zone set aside, well, there's 300,000 small businesses, but there's only 5,000 hub zone. You just got rid of more than, I don't know, what is that, 99% of the competition before you even got there, right? So this is that kind of stuff is what you're doing during capture. But the way you accomplish this is by having strong relationships in place. You need a strong relationship with the small business specialist, perhaps even the SBA's PCR, procurement center representative. You need a strong relationship with the contract specialist and the contract officer, right? Following up with them, building that relationship with them, being able to come in and candidly talk about an opportunity. One of my favorite ones was, I was a SharePoint shop that was Microsoft partner, and sometimes opportunities would come out as Microsoft Gold, and I would get in there and push Gold status out because we weren't Gold, we were only Silver. If I was Gold, I would have kept it, just so we're clear. But the way I pushed it out was by giving them data and evidence that helped the contracting officer go, this is unnecessary to us getting our quality work. And just as a side, to become Gold, it really meant you were just selling licenses. It didn't really mean you were any better as a company or engineers, et cetera. And we were able to show that with Microsoft's own documentation. Well, then that Gold certified went away and we could compete in there. These are the acquisition type things you're doing, but I was able to do it because I had a good relationship. So anyways, that was a brief touch on 3 parts of sales that I want you to just be tracking in your head: is marketing, business development, and capture. They work hand in hand. They help all of it through the sales cycle leading into the proposal and writing a good proposal that'll win. So take the time to look at it. If you've got questions, let me know. Definitely comment with your company name and organization, because I want to know who's out there and I want other people to know. If you found value in today's topic, give it a thumbs up. If you are a regular viewer of the LinkedIn Lives, I think I might not have one tomorrow. I'm going to hit the dentist and just couldn't rearrange it or cancel. They wouldn't let me. called me a coward for trying to run away. But I will be back on Thursday and Friday with two particular topics that I'm looking forward to. One is CPARs, how to have just great CPARs. And then the other is why aren't people taking my phone calls? So if those two topics interest you, Thursday and Friday, I'm back doing those. If you want to learn about how to start and build relationships, I hope you join me Tuesday, May 3rd. I'm going to do a webinar on how to start and build relationships that lead to federal revenue. And I'd love to have you join us there. Remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you next time.